lesson today. Come on. Hello.
Is it on?
Yes.
The lesson today comes from Matthew chapter 26, verses 6 through 13. This story comes after Jesus' entry into Jerusalem, which we will celebrate next Sunday, Palm Sunday. Now, while Jesus was at Bethany in the house of Simon, a leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table. But when the disciples saw it, they were angry and said, "Why this waste? For this ointment could have been sold for a large sum and the money given to the poor." But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? She has performed a good service for me. For you always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. By pouring this ointment on my body, she has prepared me for burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever this good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her." Thus ends the reading.
When the local UCC clergy returned from Minneapolis, where they had participated in the clergy and faith leaders' rally there in opposition to ICE, they shared their experiences and their learnings. And one of the things they highlighted was this: what is your reason for doing this work of opposing ICE and supporting brown and black people in the face of discrimination and what amounts to kidnapping? What is your reason? What is your motivation? They asked that question because it had been asked of them by people who had been braving Minneapolis cold for a long time to stand up to what they believed to be illegal treatment of others. If you're going to stand outside and protest in below zero temperatures, you need to know your why. If you're going to risk arrest or being pepper sprayed or being assaulted, you need to know your why. Because in the face of threat and pain and discomfort, when people with weapons will be yelling at you, you need to know your why. You need to know exactly why you are there, why your presence matters, why you are willing potentially to set aside your personal safety to stand up for others you don't even know. It's too easy to want to give up, to go home, or to consider that the little bit that you can do isn't enough. It's too easy to walk away. Unless your why will not let you give up. Unless your why will not let you walk away. Unless your why can keep you going. Today's story comes after Jesus has entered Jerusalem, so in a sense we're stepping ahead of next Sunday, which is Palm Sunday. But this story, I think, has something powerful to say to us right now. And that something powerful is not the often quoted, "You will always have the poor with you." Many folk look to that verse as something that lets them off the hook. See, Jesus said we'd always have the poor with us. We can't fix poverty. We can't fix hunger. Those things just are. They're just part of being human. And so those people minimize Jesus' call to us to love and to serve one another. I don't think Jesus ever released us from the obligation of caring for and about one another. Ever. No, I think he is acknowledging that humanity being what it was and is, we would never fully choose to address poverty, and so we'd always have the poor among us. But more importantly, right at this moment, Jesus was reminding his followers that he would not always be there, that his death was nearing. As soon as he entered Jerusalem, Jesus had to know he was a target of the religious and the political authorities. "She has prepared me for burial," Matthew's Jesus said. And though in this, Matthew's version, it is not mentioned as such, she had also demonstrated her understanding about who Jesus was, about how he mattered, about how he was the one to whom they owed their allegiance. That costly perfume would prepare a body for burial, but it also could acknowledge a king, king worth serving. Consider this woman for a moment. In a society where women and men did not eat together, she entered the room where the men were eating. In a society where women did not act independently, she interrupted what the men were doing. Among people for whom money was scarce, she used up a costly item by pouring it on Jesus. How revolutionary. No wonder the disciples were uncomfortable. But she knew her why. She was moved to offer to Jesus what she had. By her gesture, she communicated to him and to the others just who she believed Jesus was, the Messiah, the Son of God, and how he deserved the best that she could give to him. Her why told her to ignore the societal constraints and do what she thought right to honor her God. And his disciples gave her grief for it. I don't blame the disciples. They had every reason to ask that question about why wasn't the perfume sold and the money given away. Hadn't they heard Jesus told them to deny themselves? Hadn't they heard Jesus tell the story of the rich young man to whom Jesus said, "Go, sell all your possessions and give the money to the poor, then come, follow me"? It seems logical then to assume that a costly asset should be sold and the proceeds given away. But sometimes what we need is not logic. What we need is to remember our why we offer our time, our care, our talent, and our treasure. Our why is because God asks it of us. Our why is the love God demonstrated and demonstrates in Jesus. Our why is that just as Jesus did what God asked of him, we do what God asks of us. And in remembering our why, we are able to keep going. Even in the midst of challenge and burdens, in the midst of hopelessness, in the midst of wondering if anything we can do will make a difference, in the midst of deep, abiding sadness. In the middle of all that, we are able to keep going. God asks us not to look away, to bear witness to the tragedies and errors of these days, and to try to correct or mend what we can, to protest or write letters or make phone calls or give money or offer food or do whatever we feel moved to do, to say that what is happening now, here and abroad, so much of it is not right. What we witness is clearly not what God desires for humanity. What we perceive is not just or merciful or loving as we are called to be. And so we act as we feel called to act, to do the work we are called to do, to risk as we may be called to risk. In order to do these things, we must hold on to our why, because our why, our Jesus, will give us the strength to hold on to what he has taught us. And his grace will ease us, comfort us, and encourage us, no matter how hard following him becomes. Hold on to your why. Hold on to the great gift of Jesus. May we keep going, and may God bless us as we go. The hymn is number 506.